Who delivers? It's a great ball, it's a great header.
It was another great night for the Matildas in Sydney. Not only did they beat China 2-0, but they did it in front of nearly 77,000 fans, setting a new team record.
I remember playing in front of maybe 800 or 1,000 people in a World Cup qualifier in Sydney some years ago. In a way, it's a good sign of growth that we've always wanted, but it also needs to be managed and managed carefully so that players aren't being overloaded.
The two-game series against China now over. The Matildas have immediately turned their attention to the Paris Olympics. This morning, coach Tony Gustafsson announced the squad.
This team is very, very special.
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, these are our girls! Yes.
Australia's first match of the Paris Games is on July 25th. Between now and then, the players have a break, the first some have had in a very long time.
Now everyone wants a piece of female football because they've seen what it can do. I think we're at the absolute limit, and what we don't want is reaching the point where these players are putting themselves in the red zone injury-wise.
The Matildas are nursing some sore players at the moment. Most notably, Sam Kerr won't join the side in Paris after tearing her ACL. Caitlin Foord and Katrina Gorry were both named as part of the squad, even though Foord injured her hamstring in the first game against China in Adelaide, and Gorry has a sore ankle. But after a long club season, followed by post-season competitions and now international matches, it's clear many in the squad are exhausted.
It's a good test for us. You don't get too much recovery time in tournament mode.
FIFA is primarily responsible for scheduling. Player representative bodies are currently in Amsterdam to formalise a proposal to put to FIFA that would ease the burden on players. Former Matilda Kate Gill is there with Professional Footballers Australia.
The demand is real, and they're really just crying out for rest and recovery is what they're asking for. And what they have been asking for quite some time is to make that a mandatory provision within the international match calendar framework.
Moya Dodd is a former Matilda who played from the mid-80s to the mid-90s. She says international scheduling hasn't kept up with the professionalisation of the women's game.
I mean, the biggest difference between the conditions that I played under 30 plus years ago in the Matildas and what you see now is that these players are all at professionalised clubs in professional leagues.
She argues FIFA has not properly balanced the increasing demands from clubs when creating the international fixture, and the demands on players will go up over the next 4 years.
What we've seen with the latest FIFA calendar is actually an increase in the number of weekends that FIFA have taken for international matches, which will have the effect of pushing more games into midweek.
She believes too much international football drags players away from domestic leagues, weakening the standard of play and putting them at risk.
Having viable leagues and clubs is a really crucial next stage for the game to reach. We want hundreds of players to be able to play in professional leagues rather than just having a couple of dozen Matildas earning a wage.
If the pressure on players continues to increase and FIFA doesn't incorporate breaks within the calendar, Professional Footballers Australia says the players will consider industrial action.
I think there is an increasing frustration, and that comes on both the men's and the women's side of the match calendar. The men have been quite vocal in just how tough it's been, given the demands that are on them and the amount of travel that's associated with that. So I believe that, it might take some strong collective action from the players to actually bring this forward.
With Carpenter.
In years to come, the clubs who pay the wages of players are likely to demand that they focus more on them and less on their national teams. That has already happened in men's football, but experts believe the women aren't there just yet.
I think it'll come into it for the next generation of player. I think this generation, this current Matildas generation, are that attached to that jersey and wanting to achieve something that no other team has achieved before. I think that will supersede any thoughts of, I've got to bow to club pressure.
Olympics are tough, featuring only the 12 best teams in the world. But Moya Dodd believes, beaten up or not, count the Matildas out at your peril.
Let's remember we beat France in the World Cup quarter-final. We've just beaten the Asian champions, China, last night 2-0 in a very convincing display. So I'm always optimistic and I can't wait to see them back in action for real.